teams in Marvel Strike Force, and I'm going to do more than 10. We're actually going to do 15 because I wanted to focus primarily at the start on raid teams, and there are 7 raid teams that we're going to talk about. Now, before we get into that, I want to give a big shout out to everyone that came out to the last top 10 teams video, and it was one of my most liked videos for the entire year. Also, I have a sponsored Raid Shadow Legends channel that is doing very well. And on this channel, you will see tons of guest appearances from my wife, Kat, Duelam, Boylon, Valley Flyin, and Arnold T101 have all been guests. They've upgraded my download link to be one of the best, and I don't know what I'm doing here on the screen. But Corrado, the Fox Hunter, is legendary. You get right out of the gate by using the QR code or scanning the link in the description. Then you also get Ugo, who's an epic support champion. And then lastly, you will get Tagore when you get to level 30, who is amazing. Now, this is very important. In the first 24 hours of playing Raid Shadow Legends, use the promo code right here on the screen, Monkey King. You can do that in-game on PC or Android. On iOS, you have to do it on the website, and you will get Sun Wukong, who is my absolute favorite champion. You want to do this code in the first 24 hours. Very important. Now, let's get to the list. And like I said, there's going to be 15 teams on here because I wanted to start the list off with raid teams. Now, it's important to get with your alliance and your alliance leaders and find out what raid teams they want you to do and what your alliance is doing. But I'm going to go over the 7 teams that I'm using for raids because I think it's one of the best place to get meaningful rewards in the game is going to be raids. So Night Stalkers. Night Stalkers are a raid team, but more importantly, they are useful in multiple places. Cosmic Crucible and Alliance War. This is easily one of my favorite teams, most versatile teams. And then also I'm thinking that Oath and Blade will both have long-term viability. The reason why they do so well has to do with Man-Thing's passive, which does something very interesting. He gives the team a speed stat increase, which is not turn meter gain. So many countermeasures there are right now that are anti-turn meter, and this team does not work that way. And other than the new Emma Frost, this is going to be a good team to move through the game without a lot of counters to them. Emma Frost is one of the counters, though. So I'm a big fan of Night Stalkers. So let's go to the next team, which is going to be Orcus. Orcus is also a raid team, getting good use of them in Crucible and Alliance War. Not as much Night Stalkers, and they also don't have as many plug and play options, where Night Stalkers have good plug and plays with Oath and Blade, where right here, Orcus, primarily the only plug and play character is going to be Lady Deathstrike. And these are also going to be some characters that are required to go to gear tier 20, or the ones that I've chosen to go to gear tier 20 for the Professor X saga. Now, Vigilante, jury is out on this team, but I'm finding that they're also very effective in war, taking out Mephisto type teams. And I have not really got a lot of use out of them in Crucible, but they are a raid team, so I would focus on them for sure. Now, right now, there is a team in the Flux that is going to be replacing like Super Scroll Hive Mind inside of raids, and that is going to be the Thunderbolts team. And the only 2 members that we currently have in the game that represent the Thunderbolts are going to be the reworks to Taskmaster and Ghost. 3 characters will be coming here shortly. Victoria Hand is already in the game, but the other 2 will be here. And I would not go too heavily on the Hive Mind team because they're going to be replaced by the Thunderbolts. Now, this next team is kind of strange. And you can see here that there's a total of 3 teams here on the screen, but it's really 3 teams made up of 10 characters. And so the 2 new characters are going to be right here in the middle, which is going to be Hercules and Jean Grey. And right here in the middle is going to be the Uncanny Avenger team, which is for raids. At the very top, we're going to have Mighty Avengers, which is used in war. And then lastly, here in the bottom is going to be the Immortals, which is used in Crucible. But it's really a combination of 10 characters that makes 3 teams that are used in 3 different game modes. And so this is going to be about the spotlight as well. Then we've got Alpha Flight. Now, I got to give some caution here on the next 2 teams, is that these are not post-Aries stats. So I think it's important to note that we're going to talk about pre-Aries and post-Aries. Post-Aries characters have better stats, like on the order of 30%. And in general, my list is going to be focusing on characters that have the stat increase that came after Aries. Now, both of these teams right here, which is going to be Alpha Flight and Old Man Logan Extreme, yes, there are used currently in raids, but these are pre-Aries teams, and so they're not going to have the stats, and I don't think they're going to be as good in the long term. Now, Alpha Flight not only is used in the Spotlight raids, it's also a Alliance War defensive team that is pretty good. Typically, some of the members are switched out and used elsewhere, but the primary 3, which is going to be Sasquatch, North Star, and Guardian, are used in conjunction with, let's say, American Chavez. Also, it's worth noting that these 3 have plug-and-play viability for various reasons. North Star has the ability of getting rid of revives, and then we've got Guardian, which gives the team offense up so they can be plugged and play. And then Sasquatch is a pre-taunting tank. Extreme X-Men, Old Man Logan's amazing, and Nightcrawler's amazing. The other 3, however, I don't know if I would go too heavily into putting resources, which would be Gambit, Sunspot, and Forge. But Old Man Logan's a boss, and so is Nightcrawler. So those are going to be the 7 raid teams, with the 2 bonus teams that are involved, with these 10 characters right here, one being used in War and the other one used in Crucible. If I were going to get rid of the stipulation of raids, I would say that Annihilators is my favorite team and would be at the top of the list, but this team doesn't get used inside of raids. But 4 of the team members are very useful. Endgame Thanos, I think, is going to be a very good character for a long time because of his ability to get through Safeguard. Also, his passive, when he drops below 50%, will not only strip away the opposing team's positive effects, including Safeguard, it does a lot of damage. Endgame Thanos is going to be good for a long time. Gladiator right here on above me here is going to be a pre-taunting tank that is very strong, one of the strongest pre-taunting tanks in the game. And then Gore's kit has anti-revive and anti-charge mechanics, and he's also very useful with Null because he is a symbiote. So this is probably my top pick. Silver Surfer's hot garbage in my opinion. Wouldn't go too heavily on him. And Ultimus has some good situations. He's very good, let's say, against pre-taunting tanks because he does more hits based on the number of positive effects, and he can actually blow through pre-taunting tanks quite good. Next, we got to talk about Astral, which has Shadow King. And there's a couple superstars here on the team. Shadow King has high plug-and-play viability. So does the new Emma. At the top of the list, I was talking about Man-Thing and Night Stalkers. Well, she has the ability to shut that down. Nimrod with Orcus also has that mechanic, and she can shut that extra speed stat increase as well. Doctor Strange can revive the team, and then Ancient One just does all kinds of damage and is quite a monster. Moondragon is probably the weakest one on the team. Next, we have to talk about Absolute A-Force, which their primary function is war. And I want to say that Astral is a Battle World team, which is interesting. Also very good in war. And then Astral is very good in war. Now, the 3 new characters, which is Ms. Marvel Classic, Kahori, and Medusa, have some plug-and-play viability. Kahori is one of the better characters in the game. I believe I made her an S-tier character in my recent all characters ranked video. I would focus on those 3 because you got a tank. Medusa's got some interesting plug-and-play countermeasures to like Death Proof. The 2 reworked characters, not so much. So this is going to be a recurring theme where they typically will bring in 3 new characters of the game and then rework 2, and the 3 new characters, of course, are better than the 2 reworked characters. Next is Liberty, which is also a war team. And Liberty has actually got some cool mechanics where they put taunts everywhere, effectively bypassing taunt. Big fan of this team. Captain Sam, yes, is a reworked character, but his ultimate gives turn meter to the team, so that's a very good thing. War Machine is by far the weakest member on the team. Next, we have Starjammers, which has been very controversial. This is a Crucible team. It has had multiple buffs to make them viable inside of Crucible. I don't think they're that great in Alliance War. There was a period I didn't think they were great anywhere. So this is kind of lower on the list. Now, Lilandra is required for the Professor X saga, and a lot of people are taking Howard the Duck and Havoc as well. Now, this one might be a unusual choice right here because we are going into pre-Aries stats characters. So that will be Undying, Illuminati, and then Superior 6. And I just wanted to, like, these three teams are kind of honorable mentions, if you will, because I feel like I use them in every game mode. Well, not every game mode, but I use them inside of Alliance War and in Cosmic Crucible quite a bit. Now, the Undying team, which is at the top, is here because they are a team where a new member is added, let's say, every fall around the time of Halloween. So they will be getting a 5th member, and that is going to continue to make them viable long term. Not on this list would be the Phoenix Force team, which right now only has 2 members, which is Jean Phoenix and Omega Red Phoenix Force. So, and that is going to be a similar type of team where they're going to add a new epic character once a year, and that typically the team gets some boosts to work better with that new character to make the team viable. So this team right here, Undying, is going to have a lot of legs. Now, Illuminati and Superior 6 are just some of my favorite teams. Illuminati is proving to be one of the stronger teams, even though it's pre-Aries stats. But I can't ignore the powerfulness of, is that a word? Powerfulness of Captain Britain and friends. But I'm reluctant to tell people to invest heavily in them. You know, any team that has come to the game after Aries is going to be better than pre-Aries in general. There's a lot of exceptions. And I feel like Superior 6 is also in that category as well. Now, I'm going to show a little trick here in game. I'm going to switch over that I don't know if a lot of people have noticed, but a lot of people say, well, what character should I be upgrading? Especially people that had just started playing Marvel Strike Force. And I recently started a new account, and I found this to be super helpful. Hit roster, and then right here, hit squads. And this is going to be all of the teams that are in a order, and the order is most current team released, which also includes the reworks like Punisher and Elektra were reworked, and that gave them better stats as well. And there is good access to some of these newer teams with the reworked characters. Elektra and Punisher are relatively easy to get. Rocket and Groot are relatively easy to get. Captain America and War Machine are relatively easy to get. So if you are starting the game right recently, you're going to be flooded with a ton of characters, like almost more than you can know what to do with them. But if you come into this list, you can see that the characters at the top are generally going to be better than the characters towards the bottom. Or you may not see your character on here at all. But in general, the top teams are better than the lower teams, and the reworked characters will be there as well, and you're going to have better success. Now, I was talking towards the beginning of the video about the difference between pre-Aries and post-Aries, and the line was drawn right here between Annihilators and Illuminati, and you can see the big jump in power from 5 million to 7 million, and a lot of these post-Aries teams have 7 million power, where if we look at the pre-Aries teams, they're going to be 4 or 5 million in general. And I feel like I'm having a hard time justifying teams that are pre-Aries outside of some of the exceptions that we gave here in the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And also, big shout out to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring the video. Check out the links in the description. Bye for now.